Welcome one more day to the TARDS Game channel, where this time we are going to see one of the best strategies with indicators, which show you buy and sell signals during our operations in low time frames, that is to say a perfect strategy for all those who do day trading or scalping. This strategy has one of the highest win rates of this type of operations, over 85%, and we will focus on a variable ratio that I will explain below. Of course, as always, we can use it both in the traditional market, stocks, forex, and cryptocurrencies. And one of the most important details is that this strategy is perfect for automation. Welcome to the Trader's Game. And before we start, we have created for all of you a free community on Telegram where we will be informing you day after day of what is happening in the financial markets. It is completely free. You will have the link in the description, so do not forget to sign up, because in the markets the most important thing is to always be informed. And for all those who are looking for the best platforms with the best free bonuses if you want to start in the world of trading, you will also have the trading bonus page in the description. You can even sign up for their newsletter, so that every week they send you an analysis of everything that has been happening in the market during the week directly to your inbox. And now let's see it step by step. As you can see, we have chosen a chart in Bitcoin USDT, in the temporality of 1 minute, to explain it perfectly. As I said, it is a perfect strategy for both scalping and intraday trading. The first thing we have to do is go to the indicators section and look for Cadenero, so written, and the creator Moonlift. As you can see, there are few people using it. We put it in favorites and click. You are already seeing that it is one of the indicators that gives us more data of all those that we have seen. That adds more information, but we are not going to need all this. We go directly to settings and we will begin to change some little things. First, in length we would put 200. We continue down, and here in the Keltner bands we also change the length from 20 to 10. The multiplier we change it from 1 to 2, and the ATR length we change it from 10 to 5. In stochastic we would put 15, 20, and 15, and we would have everything ready. Try to place it exactly in this way to maximize the benefits to the maximum. In the style part we will remove these 2 here and also these 4 below, to have a much cleaner chart. We will leave only what we are going to use. I recommend you to put the SMA a little thicker and with a bright color that differentiates it from the rest of the chart, since in the end it will be our first orientation of the operation. The Keltner bands we can leave the same in blue, and the buy and sell signals to your liking, we give to accept, and we would be like this. Now we are going to add another indicator. In this case we will look for HVNV 1.00, we place it in favorites to have it saved and click on it. We would get something like this, and we go directly to configure it. The first thing we are going to do is to change the circles by line, to see it much clearer, and also to increase the opacity to the green and red parts, to see much better those changes of trend. One of the parts that you can remove or put to your liking would be the line of the 0 zone. I personally prefer to leave it because it will guide us a little better when performing quick operations, and also being in 1 minute temporality. All the extra time that our brain saves when analyzing parameters will run to our benefit. We would remove the colors to the candles. We do not need them. In fact, I am going to put the 0 line in this more striking color, to differentiate it a little from the upper orange line. And in data entries we are going to change the 10 by 12, the fast length from 12 to 14, and finally the signal length from 9 to 12. We give it to accept, and we would already have perfectly configured our indicators. And now we will proceed to explain the strategy. How should we look for entries? The first rule, the most important, is to keep in mind that when the price is above our average, which in this case we have it marked in orange, we will always look for operations in long. And when the price is below, we will always look for operations in short. Then a little later in the video I will also give you some extra tips on this. But let's go straight to looking for our first trade. When the price is placed above that average, and our upper indicator already marks us that buy signal, long buy, we have to look at the bottom. If we have our line in green, if so, the only thing we would miss is that the candle where it marks that buy signal is also green, is positive, since we are looking for a long operation. If this is not the case, we would discard it and move on to the next one. A little later we see again a buy signal, and in this case we also have the lower line in green and the candle is positive, So we place our operation just at the close of the candle. We place our stop loss below the previous lows, and we look for our take profit to have a ratio of 1. May 1st. As you can see at this point, we already take profit from our position, and also a little before we had another entry zone, buy signal, lower line in green, and positive candle, so we could also enter this operation. We place again stop loss below the previous lows, and again we look for that ratio of 1.5/1. There we have it again, double positive operation in just a half-hour interval. That's why I said that it is a perfect strategy when automating, because we could even program some kind of robot that giving this data could be generating these operations automatically, because in the long term we would come out positive. If you notice, here we have again several trades in a row. The price in this case is below the average, so we will only look for entries in short. We mark the sell signal, the candle is red, and the lower indicator line is also red, so we would look again for a short with that ratio 1.5/1. A few minutes later we would have another trade in positive, and this one here that would not come out in negative, as there is a change of trend, but nothing happens, we will always fail some. But just this area is perfect for me to give you a couple of tips or extra tricks to maximize profits with this strategy. Attention! If we look at the lower indicator, we see that there are many times where the bands are very far away from that central line, that zero zone line, so I personally like to place it, because it also helps me to interpret the strength of the movements that are occurring in the market. Especially in low time frames, as we are in a minute, as there is so much volatility, it is very important to know that the price can behave very differently if those bands are focused on moving closer to the zero zone than if they come to separate a larger space. In the case that we first see that this movement is moving away from the zero zone, and in addition there is a cut in this case downwards, we would ignore the effect of that average, and directly we would look for the first operation that occurs in that area and that will accompany the movement of the crossing. That is, the bands come in an upward movement, like the price. But here they are far away from the zero zone and we see that there is that downward crossover. Then when we mark that sell zone, we must interpret that we have already risen enough and that the price is going to change direction. We ignore the rest of the rules and place our operation with that ratio 1.5/1. As you can see, we change that directionality perfectly, and we get a good profit. A little later, exactly the same. Again we have that sell signal with the crossover exactly the same downward as the previous one, so we would place our operation and we would collect again. That is something that you always have to keep in mind, that in the end if the waves are very close to the zero zone, it is more complicated that your operations are given in positive, since that means that the price is very close to that main measure that is doing zigzag all the time, so you will fail more operations than when those bands are farther away. It is something logical, but we must always keep in mind. In short, it is a strategy that we must practice, but at the time we get to use systematically or automated, will give us incredible benefits. And if you apply everything we have taught you step by step, and you add a touch of your basic trading knowledge, you will reach a win rate above 85%. Do not forget to tell us in comments what you thought of this strategy, if you have tried it, what results you have obtained. And if you like our work, leave us a nice like, that is free. And of course share these videos with your friends who like the exciting world of trading. See you in the next video of the Trader's Game.